Welcome to EmagineNET QuickCheck Demo. In this demo, you'll learn about the front end and back end of the check cashing software. In addition, you'll be able to learn the check cashing process and the different ways you can minimize fraud. Before we get started with processing a check, let me walk you through the software features. The main page of the software, once you launch it, shows you a variety of fraud checks going around. This is reported by other stores. If any of these checks were to be presented at your store, you will receive the proper alerts when attempting to add the company. You will receive this information as long as you are enrolled in our monthly network plan. Nevertheless, we displayed the recent checks for your information and to become familiar with these types of checks, banks, and individuals with high fraud possibilities. In this section, you'll see the latest feature announcements, offers, and important messages that we communicate to all our network members. And lastly, you'll see our contact information, business hours, and a link to our training center. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see different functions to the software features, such as processing a check, reporting a bad check, access to different reports, compliance module, ability to search a company, customer, and transaction, manage shifts, vault management, ring up items through our POS system, and even do electronic deposit if your bank is integrated with us. Run loyalty and raffle programs, and get quick help from our team right from the software. QuickCheck also has online tools that can help you monitor and manage your check cashing better. Contact your sales representative for more information. Let's start by running a check in the system for the first time. I'll walk you through on how to register a company, a customer, and analyze the information to make a well-educated decision on whether or not to cash the check. First, you'll run the check through the check reader device. This device has the ability to scan checks front and back and IDs in color. It is the top option and brand in the market. When you run the check, you'll notice the routing and account number has been read by the check reader to the QuickCheck system. If the check reader does not read any maker data after 2 or 3 attempts, you might want to be careful, as it might mean that the check was printed at home and no maker data is present. This will make it an invalid or a fraud check. After running the check for the first time, we go into adding the company to start the verification process. QuickCheck verifies 3 crucial steps for the company: the banking information, which will determine the name of the bank where the check is coming from, and the account status to see if the account is low risk, meaning valid and with a positive balance, or if it's a high risk account as per the last bank reporting, if available by the bank. The second step verifies the phone number of the company by asking the customer for their work number to validate the company's name and address. Lastly, we'll see the activity of the company in the nationwide network. This allows the store teller to see if the recent activity of this company, such as the checks cashed, are NSFs, frauds, if they've been paid back, and if after validating all this information, the company can now be added. Before adding it, you can add other information not previously populated by the phone number verification to have as much information as possible from this entity. Once the company is added, the system will prompt you to scan the check once again for one last time to capture a color image of the check for reference purposes in the future. We now move to registering the customer. We start by getting the ID number of the customer and selecting the type of ID from any of the 50 states in the United States or Canada provinces or foreign IDs, passports, and more. By entering this information, you can verify if the customer is going from store to store cashing checks within our nationwide network. If the customer has cashed any checks in the last 3 days, and this is crucial because if they are cashing a payroll check, why is the customer getting paid again? Additionally, if the customer has a Texas ID, we can verify their identity directly from the Department of Transportation, and this also applies for the state of Florida. Next, we verify the customer's phone number to determine credibility, to have as a reference and do a second validation on their identity. QuickCheck verifies all landlines and some cell phone providers. Once verified, the information either from the state verification or phone number will be auto-populated on the bottom of the screen, and you can enter more information of the customer for reference purposes. When you click on Add Customer, you'll be prompted to scan the ID for reference purposes, take a picture of the customer, and scan their fingerprint to complete customer registration. We are now in the customer summary screen, where you'll see all the information previously entered. At this time, you can go and cash the check if you found the information satisfactory, or you can block the customer if you don't want to cash the check. This is helpful because you can keep the record to avoid cashing a fraud check in the future for this customer. You can also update any information prior to cashing a check. on any of the update buttons shown in this page. We go ahead and cash the check. We enter the amount, the commission rate, which is automatically calculated based on what we preset in the backend. And before the transaction is completed, you can see QuickCheck does one more verification against the government's OFAC SDN list to see if there are any possible matches with the company or the customer on the list. You'll get a confirmation number that is logged in a report that can later be served for compliance purposes. You can as well charge other purchases using the built-in POS, cash multiple checks from the same company for this customer, or cash multiple checks from other companies for this customer. There are other great features in this window, such as the loyalty program enrollment, ability to add fee for new customers or companies, and the ability to send a transaction for verification. This allows the owner or manager to get a text alert for further verification if the teller is unsure of this transaction. The transaction details are sent to the dedicated portal, and response can be sent back to the teller. This is an additional feature built in the software for your convenience. We now complete the transaction and the check is cashed. This process normally takes 2 to 3 minutes, and it's only done the first time for each customer and company. Now that the company and customer have been registered, we now move to the next scenario that shows you how to process a check for an existing company and customer. This process takes no more than 20 to 25 seconds, and all it takes is a few clicks. Verify the color image with the check that you're holding. Re-verify the bank information to see the existing account status. Review the network activity at your store and nationwide to ensure all looks good. Select the customer, and you are back in the summary screen, where you can now see activity for this customer. You can even see check images. And if you want to cash the check, you click on Cash Check for this customer. You enter the amount, get the commission calculated, and complete the transaction. It's that simple. There are other scenarios available, like cashing a check for a new company with an existing customer. The process for the company is the same, but instead of registering the customer again, you go find them from the existing list in your database. You confirm that you want to add them as well to this company, and once confirmed, you are back in the summary screen, and you are now ready to cash this check for this customer. If you want to cash a check for an existing company with a new customer, the process is the same. You run the check, select the company, where you can also update and re-verify bank information as well, and see network activity like before. And instead of clicking on Select Customer, you click on Add New Customer. After clicking this action button, you now move to registering the customer like we have done it before. Take their ID, copy image, picture, and fingerprint, and we're back in the summary screen, where you can then cash the check for this customer. In QuickCheck, you are also able to cash checks for contractors, and they are processed a bit different to avoid registering thousands of companies in your database. These companies may only be presented once. To do this process, you will create a contractor account by simply typing a shortcut number like 200. You will add the company as contractors with no verification performed, and you'll add the customer to that company. You can run the check separately to verify maker status, but ultimately, you will need to run all contractor checks under the shortcut 200 and process all checks through that maker. This way, you consolidate all contractor checks in one profile. The rest of the process is like the rest of the scenarios. The next feature to show you is to report a bad check. This feature is available so that if a check is returned, you can quickly stop any bad checks after that from coming in. This feature will allow you to report a bad check at your store level and in the nationwide network. To get started, enter the amount of the check or do an alternate search on Report a Bad Check. Once you find the check, verify you have the right record and click on Update Transaction. From this window, you can then select the check as NSF, fraud, stop payment, or payback if you want to mark it as NSF and it's been paid back. By clicking OK, you are then submitting a bad check image if available and marking the transaction as bad. Now let's see what happens with this very same company or customer if one of your employees attempts to cash another check from them. Run the check through the check reader and notice a red alert on the network and at your store level. In addition, if they decide to surpass this alert, when you're about to cash the check, you'll get an additional alert warning to not cash an NSF maker. However, if the check is marked as fraud or stop payment, the software will automatically block you from cashing this check from this company with such status. Let's move to the reports feature. In this section, you'll be able to browse through many reports at a transaction, company, or customer level for operations, financial, or compliance purposes. For instance, if we click on the check activity report, you can filter by date, time, check type, amount, and you'll be able to generate the report that you're looking for with line-by-line items. A total of the different criteria is below. All of these reports can be printed or exported to PDF. The rest of the reports work the same way, but each of them display different information such as monthly numbers, NSF payback log, return checks log, bank deposit slips, and even have the ability to print a pre-generated letter to demand the money owed for a company that has issued a bad check. You can also have the ability to generate reports at a customer and company level by going to search for customer or by searching for the company and viewing a list of all transactions or check images for them. Next, we have the compliance module. This allows you to set up policies as per compliance laws. These are usually preset by QuickCheck, and we entice not to change the limits unless you have different requirements in your state. In this section, you can generate an SAR or CTR log for compliance purposes, and obviously to know which customers you need to file a CTR or an SAR for. In this same section, you can generate a report for audit purposes of all the OFAC SDN verifications done on each of the entities every time you process a transaction by going to Daily Check Log. This log can give you confirmation number register under the verification, and again, this would be for compliance or audit purposes. In this same section, you have the ability to search a transaction image report by date and amount. This report will open in a pop-up window, and it allows you to see the front and back with the transaction information. In the next section, we can search companies, customers, and transactions either to update, merge, mark them as fraud, block, and so on. If we go to search company, you can update the information you enter when registering a company for the first time. You can change commission rate specifically for that company, print reports, check images, delete company, and have a list of customers or transactions. Plus, report the company as fraud if it's the case. When searching for a customer, you can pretty much update anything on the customer, as it will take you to the known summary screen, and you can update things like the information you enter when you first register the customer. You can mark it as trusted so that the certain policies do not kick in on this entity. You can even merge this customer with another. You can add notes. You can update the commission, and even add documents that can serve for reference. When searching for a transaction, you can update the date, check number, amount, commission, fee, net return amount. You can add notes. You can print the customer profile, view check images, print transaction, rescan the check image, and even mark the transaction as bad, meaning NSF, fraud, stop payment, or SAR. The next section is the administration tab, which has different features that can help you run your check cashing business a lot easier and smarter. From this section, you can update the application information such as the name that comes out on reports, the hardware settings, which can be preset by our technical support team, and the software settings where you can set up global commission rates by percentage, by amounts, or flat rates. You can even add base fees for new companies, new customers, bounce checks, and more. And other features are available like receipt printer settings, requiring certain information from the system like scanning a front and back check image, a shift to view open, date on the check, customer phone number, fingerprinting, treasury check verification, and more. This way, these items are collected by your employees and required by the system when they are registering a customer or company for the first time. From this section, you can also change the content of the draft letter used to collect NSF checks. This letter is accessed through the report section. The next feature is to take your application offline. This helps when you have an internet issue. That way you can continue taking customers in offline mode without verifications. And this is usually recommended for known customers only. You can always take the application back online once the connection is reinstated and continue to verify companies and customers. The next feature is to update the profile feature. This allows you to set up limits for risky companies and customers. You can specify the amount of the check you can take from an entity, the amount in dollars, how many days, and let the system know if it should only provide you a warning or a warning and block the transaction from happening if they exceed the limit. Once you add the profile, for whatever reason you may need it, you can go back to searching the company or the customer and adding them to that profile. Let me quickly show you how to do it for a company and now for a customer. The next feature is the risk management policies. This feature allows you to set up helpful policies for warning and delimiting purposes. And they go great with the verification so that you can do and take the right checks. The warning policies will only provide you a warning. This is a yellow screen window that you will see. And the delimiting policies are if the limits are exceeded during a transaction. You will not be able to process it until the policy is updated or if the time frame has passed for this customer or this transaction. When you are using EmagineNET QuickCheck, be very careful how you set these, and if you are new to check cashing, we recommend that you are very conservative with these policies to avoid taking too much for new or recently known customers. The next feature is the Security Center. Here's where we can make sure your data is locked and inaccessible outside QuickCheck. From this section, you can manage groups to give certain access to supervisors or employees. You can add employees that can later use these credentials to log into the software or open a shift. The next feature is to delete data. Here you can delete pretty much any company, customer, or transaction data. Make sure to be 100% right about the data you want to delete, as it cannot be retrieved once it is deleted. This helps you clean up your database from unnecessary data. The next section allows you to open and close a shift. When opening a shift, you can select the employee and starting amount. We even have a currency calculator to make it easier for you. The close shift function allows the employee to enter the amount in the register to see the short over amount at the end of their shift. You can also have access to a shift log to see the employee's activity. The next feature shows the vault section, where you can use it to record the money that you are bringing from the bank to your back office and then transferring it to the register for check cashing purposes. This way, when an employee opens a shift, they can match the amount they're starting with that you are bringing to have a greater accuracy on your money. You can select from bank to vault, which is the money that you're bringing from your bank to your back office, and from vault to station, which is the money you're putting on the register for your employee to start cashing checks. You'll also have a vault log report to record these transactions. And you can also add more accounts like banks, different vaults, or different registers if need be from the Manage Vault Account section. The next section is the POS feature. This POS allows you to ring small items and fees in addition to cashing a check, like phone cards, prepaid debit cards, copies, faxes, and so on. You'll first need to add and update the items before using the POS in the front end. Let's go set up some items in the Manage Items section. We'll enter the shortcut number, item name, abbreviation, fee, amount, type of transaction, and even a shortcut key. We add the item and then we go to cashing a check or searching a customer to ring up this item. At this point, you can go searching for the customer to see transactions at POS level for a specific customer, or you can go to POS and POS sales report to see all POS transactions. The next feature is our electronic deposit feature. This is only available if you are using a vendor and bank that is currently integrated with QuickCheck. If you have a bank that wants to integrate with us, you can contact us to get the communication started. Fees may apply. This feature allows you to do quick deposits right from your software, generate reports, and keep track of all the undeposited or uneligible items. The next feature is the loyalty program. This feature is designed to entice customers to cash more checks with you in exchange for loyalty or raffle rewards. To get started, you simply create a loyalty program. Let's say free soda. We enter the description and set up the amount of checks a customer has to cash to win this gift. To enroll the customer, simply click on Enroll Now before cashing a check. And if the customer has won the gift, you can click on Claim Now to mark it as awarded. If you want to create a raffle program instead to generate one winner only in a week, month, or a year, go to Loyalty, Raffle Program, and instead of giving the free soda to each customer, simply generate a winner from whatever period of time you want. Print their profile to alert others of the reward offers, and redeem the offer once you have awarded the gift. This is a great marketing tactic to get more people to cash checks for rewards. Lastly, if you need help and need to chat with an agent, click on Help and select EmagineNET Remote Support. We're always here to help. We hope you enjoy this demo. If you have any further questions, get in touch with us through our website or via phone at 1-877-271-1107.